In recent weeks, the convergence of economic and political factors has sparked significant debate surrounding the implications of rising gold prices and their potential influence on state budgets, particularly in Alaska. A surge in gold prices, often viewed as a boon for resource-dependent states, may not provide the financial relief that Alaska's budget woes desperately require. This paradox is rooted in a complex interplay of factors that go beyond mere commodity prices. Alaska, like many states reliant on natural resources, has historically benefited from fluctuating gold prices. However, the current fiscal challenges facing the state are more deeply entrenched than a simple increase in gold value can remedy. According to experts, while higher gold prices could lead to increased revenue from mining taxes and royalties, they do not address the structural deficits and ongoing budgetary pressures stemming from years of economic mismanagement and declining oil revenues. The reality is that while gold prices might temporarily boost state revenues, they are not a sustainable solution to the systemic fiscal challenges we face, stated Dr. Sarah Lewis, an economist specializing in resource-dependent economies. Alaska's budget issues are multifaceted, including high costs of living, fluctuating oil revenues, and a growing need for social services. Recent analyses indicate that Alaska's budget deficit could exceed $2 billion in the coming fiscal year, driven by a combination of rising costs and stagnant revenues. This situation has been exacerbated by the state's heavy reliance on oil and gas revenues, which have plummeted in recent years. As oil production declines, the state finds itself in a precarious position, with options for revenue generation becoming increasingly limited. Moreover, the underlying economic landscape is shifting. The state's population has been declining, further straining its economic base. Residents are moving to other states in search of better job opportunities, creating a cycle that could lead to further revenue loss. Without a diversified economy, Alaska is left vulnerable to the whims of global markets, warned Lewis. In light of these challenges, state lawmakers are exploring a range of fiscal strategies to address the budget shortfall. Proposals have included cuts to services, discussions about implementing a state income tax for the first time in decades, and potential reforms in how natural resource revenues are allocated. However, these measures are often met with resistance from constituents who fear the impact on their quality of life and economic stability. As the debate continues, the prospect of rising gold prices remains a contentious topic. While some see it as a glimmer of hope for state finances, others caution against over-reliance on volatile market conditions. We need a comprehensive plan that not only capitalizes on temporary gains but also sets the stage for long-term economic stability, urged State Senator Tom Williams. The question remains, can Alaska find a path forward that transcends its historical dependence on resource revenues? As the state grapples with its fiscal future, the answer may lie not in the price of gold but in a broader reimagining of its economic framework. Future developments will likely reveal whether Alaska can adapt to a changing economic reality or if it will remain ensnared in the cycle of dependency that has defined its financial landscape for decades. As the world grapples with the implications of evolving foreign and security policies, the call for leaders to align their rhetoric with actionable commitments has never been more pressing. The recent discussions surrounding this issue reflect a growing consensus among experts and policymakers that mere declarations are insufficient in addressing the complex global challenges we face today. The need for tangible strategic action is underscored by various geopolitical tensions and socio-economic crises that demand cohesive and decisive responses. A recent article published by IPS Journal highlights these concerns, emphasizing that nations must not only articulate their intentions but also take concrete steps to realize them. Words without action lead to skepticism, the article asserts, pointing to multiple instances where governmental declarations have failed to translate into effective policy or action. This disconnect between speech and deed has implications for international relations, trust building, and global stability. One of the key factors contributing to this situation is the fast-paced nature of geopolitical shifts. As countries navigate alliances and rivalries, the expectations from citizens and the international community have evolved. There is a palpable urgency for leaders to demonstrate competence and reliability, particularly in an era where misinformation and distrust can easily undermine diplomatic efforts. For instance, recent surveys indicate that public confidence in governmental assurances is waning, highlighting a critical gap in expectations versus reality. Compounding this issue, many governments are facing internal pressures that complicate their ability to fulfill international commitments. Economic challenges, public health crises, and social unrest are just a few of the factors that can hinder a country's ability to act decisively on the global stage. As noted by a foreign policy analyst quoted in the article, when resources are strained at home, it becomes increasingly difficult to engage meaningfully abroad. This underscores the critical need for a balanced approach that addresses both domestic and international priorities in policymaking. The impacts of failing to match words with deeds can be profound. Inconsistent policies can lead to a deterioration of trust among allies, while adversaries may exploit these weaknesses to further their own agendas. The article cites several historical examples where a lack of follow-through on commitments has resulted in diplomatic fallout and increased tensions. Such scenarios serve as cautionary tales for current leaders who must navigate a landscape where every commitment is scrutinized and every inaction can have far-reaching consequences. Looking ahead, the imperative for governments to synchronize their public statements with real-world actions remains a central theme in international discourse. The article concludes with a call to action for global leaders to prioritize transparency, accountability, and engagement in their foreign and security policies. It's time to move beyond rhetoric, it states, emphasizing that genuine progress will require collaborative efforts and a commitment to follow through on promises made. As we continue to monitor developments in global politics, the expectation for leaders to not only articulate their visions but also deliver on them will shape the future of international relations. The journey toward meaningful action is fraught with challenges, yet it is essential for fostering a stable and cooperative global environment. In this context, the coming years will be pivotal in determining whether nations can overcome the disconnect between words and deeds, ultimately paving the way for a more unified approach to the complex issues that lie ahead. On April 24, 2025. A compelling exploration of artistry and environmental advocacy unfolded as National Geographic photographer Nevada were shared her insights into the profound impact of photography on global awareness. During a recent interview, who was set to deliver a keynote speech at a photography awards ceremony in Fresno City College, elaborated on her journey of capturing the essence of the world through her lens. Photography is not just about taking pictures, it's about telling stories that resonate and inspire change, she articulated, underscoring the vital role visual storytelling plays in nurturing a more informed society. As Were engages audiences with her narrative-driven photography, other significant developments in the realm of environmental consciousness are also making headlines. Award-winning British photographer Mandy Barker has launched a thought-provoking project that transforms discarded clothing into fine art cyanotype prints. With her recent work, photographs of British algae, cyanotype imperfections, Barker aims to draw parallels between marine algae and the pollution caused by fast fashion. Every year, the fashion industry generates more greenhouse gas emissions than all international flights and container ships combined, Barker asserts, highlighting the dire consequences of consumer habits on marine ecosystems. Barker's innovative approach involved the meticulous collection of over 200 pieces of clothing waste from various beaches across the UK, an endeavour that took a decade to complete. By employing the cyanotype method, a process reminiscent of the early photographic techniques used by pioneering botanist Anna Atkins, Barker creates a striking visual dialogue that merges art and environmental activism. This work is a call to action. I hope to inspire conversations that lead to tangible change in the fashion industry, she stated, aiming for her art to serve as a catalyst for awareness and reform. In another notable development, Val d'Aran has garnered recognition as the best natural destination in Spain, awarded by the readers of Viajes National Geographic. Situated in the Catalan Pyrenees, this picturesque region has been lauded for its commitment to sustainable tourism practices. Juan Antonio Serrano, vice president of the Lida Regional Tourism Board, emphasized that the award reinforces their dedication to preserving the area's unique charm while promoting responsible travel. This recognition is a testament to the hard work and innovation within the local tourism sector, Serrano remarked, reflecting the community's collective efforts to highlight Val d'Aren's natural beauty and cultural heritage. Meanwhile, in the healthcare sector, North Bay Health has appointed Christine Seawright as its new Chief Marketing and Communications Officer. Seawright, who previously held senior roles at notable institutions including Children's National Hospital and the George Washington University Hospital, is set to leverage her extensive experience to enhance patient engagement and expand North Bay's outreach in Northern California. "I'm truly honored to be part of an organization so deeply committed to delivering compassionate, community-focused care," Seawright expressed, indicating her enthusiasm for driving brand visibility and fostering community connections. As these narratives unfold, they collectively reflect a growing recognition of the interconnectedness of art, environment, and community. The blending of creative expression with social responsibility underscores a pivotal shift towards sustainability and awareness in various fields. Looking ahead, the influence of photographers like Warren Barker alongside the sustainability initiatives in regions like Val d'Aren promises to inspire a new wave of engagement that prioritizes both storytelling and ecological stewardship. The future of these endeavors hinges on the ability to galvanize public interest and action, ensuring that the stories captured behind the lens translate into meaningful change for the world. In a surprising twist within the tech startup landscape, Florida-based Infinite Reality has emerged as a notable figure, claiming to have secured a staggering $3 billion investment from an undisclosed single investor. This funding would catapult the company's valuation to an eye-watering $15.5 billion, positioning it among the highest-profile ventures in the burgeoning metaverse sector. However, the fervor surrounding Infinite Reality is tempered by a series of unanswered questions, legal troubles, and skepticism from industry observers. At a recent event in Los Angeles, Infinite Reality's co-founder and CEO John Econo delivered an impassioned speech to shareholders proclaiming the bullshit factor is gone. His remarks were met with applause from an audience of approximately 100 investors, as he touted the company's ambitious aim to grow into a $50 to $100 billion enterprise within the year. Yet behind this bravado lies a complex narrative filled with legal challenges and allegations of financial mismanagement. Econo's past is marred by a history of unpaid bills and lawsuits that have spanned over 2 decades, raising eyebrows about the legitimacy of the company's meteoric rise. Econo's claims of a $3 billion investment have drawn scrutiny, particularly given the circumstances surrounding the funding. Yale finance professor Song Mai noted that such a substantial investment reportedly coming from a single source is highly unusual in the current market, where even well-established firms like OpenAI and Anthropic have raised funds through multiple investors. Furthermore, the company's recent valuation leaps have been met with skepticism, particularly since Infinite Reality only generated $75 million in revenue in 2024. A figure that seems incongruous with its purported worth of 200 times its revenue. Adding to the intrigue, Infinite Reality is embroiled in a federal lawsuit concerning compliance with a subpoena issued by the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC). The SEC is investigating the company's previous claim of a $1.85 billion valuation, which formed part of a failed SPAC merger. The SEC's interest signals a serious concern about the company's financial disclosures and could have implications for its future dealings. Infinite Reality's trajectory began in 2019 when Econo and his associates purchased a bankrupt social media firm, which they later rebranded. The company has since made numerous acquisitions, including notable names like the Drone Racing League and a spring deal to buy Napster. These acquisitions have not only garnered attention but have also contributed to Infinite Reality's inflated self-reported valuation. However, many industry experts remain unaware of Infinite Reality, with some even expressing surprise upon hearing about its significant fundraising. The company's claims are further complicated by its marketing strategies, which have included misleading assertions about partnerships with high-profile entities. For instance, while it touted a connection with Manchester City, the football club clarified that Infinite Reality is not an official partner. The CEO's assertions regarding partnerships with tech giants like Google have also been met with skepticism, as Google described Infinite Reality merely as a customer of its cloud services. Despite the lofty ambitions, the reality for Infinite Reality has been fraught with challenges. The company has faced multiple lawsuits regarding unpaid invoices and contractual disputes, with claims that its cash flow issues have led to delays in payments. Econo has downplayed these legal troubles, framing them as a normal part of the startup process. As Infinite Reality continues to navigate its complex landscape, the outcome of its recent funding round and ongoing legal battles will be closely watched. The company's claim of having secured $3.36 billion from a single investor remains shrouded in mystery, with many in the industry calling for transparency and verification of its financial claims. With the SEC investigation and ongoing legal disputes, the road ahead for Infinite Reality is uncertain, and its ambitious promises may face significant scrutiny. As the narrative unfolds, the tech community will undoubtedly be watching how Infinite Reality reconciles its grand ambitions with the pressing questions of legitimacy and accountability. The outcome of these developments could have lasting implications not only for the company but also for the metaverse sector as a whole, which has seen fluctuating interest and investment in recent years. In an era marked by both innovation and skepticism, the story of Infinite Reality serves as a cautionary tale of the challenges faced by ambitious startups in the high-stakes world of technology. In the ever-evolving landscape of technology, significant developments continue to shape the industry, from workforce reductions to regulatory challenges and strategic leadership changes. Recent reports highlight critical events involving major players such as Intel, Apple, Meta, and IBM, each navigating their unique hurdles while striving for growth and innovation. Intel, the iconic semiconductor giant, is reportedly preparing to lay off approximately 20% of its workforce, amounting to over 20,000 employees. This decision comes as part of CEO Lip-Bu Tan's strategy to streamline management and foster an engineering-driven culture within the company. The anticipated layoffs follow a previous reduction of about 15,000 positions last year, reflecting ongoing struggles at Intel, which has faced 3 consecutive years of declining sales and instability in leadership. Following the announcement, Intel's shares surged by about 7%, indicating investor optimism regarding the company's future direction. However, the critical question remains: what exactly does Tan consider core to Intel's business? As the company shifts focus, it has already agreed to divest a majority stake in its programmable chips unit Altera to Silver Lake Management. With a significant workforce and a lagging revenue per employee ratio compared to competitors, the effectiveness of these cuts in revitalizing Intel will be closely scrutinized in the upcoming quarterly earnings report. Meanwhile, the European Commission has imposed hefty fines on tech titans Apple and Meta for violations of the Digital Markets Act. Apple faces a penalty of approximately $570 million, while Meta is fined around $227 million. The fines, while substantial, represent only a fraction of the maximum allowed under the law. More critically, the European Commission issued cease and desist orders that could significantly impact both companies' revenue streams. Apple's restrictions on app developers' access to alternative distribution channels have been called into question, while Meta's ad model has been criticized for not providing sufficient options that do not rely on personal data usage. Both companies plan to appeal the fines, with Apple asserting that the sanctions undermine user privacy and security, while Meta described the penalties as a multi-billion-dollar tariff that would force it to compromise service quality. This regulatory scrutiny is occurring against a backdrop of escalating trade tensions between the US and the EU, with the White House condemning the fines as a form of economic extortion against American firms. In a contrasting narrative, IBM reported better-than-expected earnings for the first quarter of 2025, with revenues of $14.54 billion and earnings per share of $1.60, surpassing analyst expectations. However, CEO Arvind Krishna acknowledged that the ongoing uncertainty stemming from the current U.S. administration's policies could lead clients to adopt a more cautious approach to spending. Notably, the U.S. efficiency initiative known as DOGE has delayed or cancelled 15 of IBM's federal contracts, which, while representing less than 10% of its consulting business, could introduce variability in its financial outlook. Despite these challenges, IBM's management remains optimistic about its position in the market, highlighting a commitment to rational regulation and economic growth that aligns with long-term value creation. As the tech landscape continues to shift, these developments underscore the complex interplay between regulatory pressures, workforce dynamics, and strategic leadership. The future will undoubtedly bring further changes as companies adapt to these challenges and seek innovative ways to thrive in an increasingly competitive environment. With eyes on Intel's impending earnings report, the outcomes of the appeals by Apple and Meta, and IBM's continued performance amidst federal contract uncertainties, the coming months will be pivotal for these industry giants. The stakes have never been higher, and how these companies navigate their respective challenges will set the tone for their trajectories in the tech sector. In a turbulent week for the U.S. economy, President Donald Trump has shifted his approach to tariffs and trade negotiations, responding to mounting pressure from business leaders and market uncertainties. Recent meetings with executives from major retailers like Walmart, Home Depot, and Target have underscored concerns about the potential disruptions caused by his trade policies. As the trade war with China continues to evolve, both sides are grappling with the implications of steep tariffs that have stymied growth and raised prices for consumers. The backdrop of these discussions is a staggering rise in tariffs on Chinese imports, which have reached as high as 145%. However, Trump indicated this week that he is considering a reduction in these tariffs, suggesting that it will come down substantially. This sentiment was echoed by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who remarked that the current tariff levels are not sustainable. Such comments have sparked hopes for a thaw in U.S.-China relations, yet concrete plans remain elusive. China's response has been firm. Officials have dismissed reports of progress in negotiations, insisting that all unilateral tariffs must be lifted for meaningful dialogue to occur. Chinese Commerce Ministry spokesman He Yadong stated, "If the U.S. really wants to solve the problem, it should thoroughly remove all unilateral tariffs." This ongoing tug-of-war has left many businesses in limbo as they navigate the complexities of increased costs and supply chain disruptions. Meanwhile, the market has reacted in kind. A recent surge in stock prices, buoyed by optimism over potential tariff reductions, has been tempered by skepticism regarding the actual implementation of any changes. Investors remain cautious, with insights from market analysts highlighting that the unpredictable nature of Trump's tariff policies has made long-term planning challenging for businesses. Citadel founder Ken Griffin described the current trade war as having devolved into a nonsensical place, emphasizing the need for stability and predictability in trade relations. As Trump contemplates new tariff rates, there is also speculation about targeted exemptions for specific sectors, particularly the automotive industry, which has been vocal about the negative impacts of the tariffs. Major auto manufacturers have expressed that high tariffs could lead to job losses and increased vehicle prices, prompting calls for relief. Reports suggest that a tiered approach may emerge where non-critical items face lower tariffs while strategic goods could see higher rates. The ramifications of these tariff policies extend beyond the U.S.-China dynamic. A dozen states have filed lawsuits against the Trump administration, arguing that the tariffs were enacted without congressional approval, highlighting the contentious nature of his trade strategies. Additionally, global companies are reassessing their operations in light of the tariffs, with some considering relocating production to mitigate costs. This shift could reshape supply chains and impact international trade patterns for years to come. As the situation develops, industry leaders are advocating for more effective trade agreements that prioritize long-term stability over short-term gains. The complex interplay of tariffs, trade negotiations, and market reactions will likely continue to dominate discussions in the coming weeks. With a critical deadline approaching for negotiations, all eyes will be on how the Trump administration navigates the intricacies of international trade and whether a resolution can be reached that satisfies both domestic and international stakeholders. In a remarkable scientific breakthrough, researchers have identified a color previously unseen by the human eye, dubbed olo. This unprecedented hue, described as a highly saturated teal, was revealed during a groundbreaking study conducted at the University of California, Berkeley. The discovery has sparked intense discussion within the scientific community regarding the nature of color perception and the potential applications of this innovative research. The study, recently published in the journal Science Advances, involved a meticulous process where 5 participants were subjected to targeted laser stimulation of their retinal cone cells. These cone cells responsible for color vision include 3 types: long wavelength L, medium wavelength M, and short wavelength S cones. Typically, stimulation of the M cones also activates L and S cones due to their overlapping sensitivities, making it nearly impossible to perceive a color solely generated by M cone activity. However, the researchers developed a method to isolate M cone stimulation, allowing participants to experience olo in a controlled lab environment. Renning, an electrical engineer and co-author of the study, recounted the astonishing result. "It was jaw-dropping. It's incredibly saturated," he remarked, emphasizing that the experience of olo transcends conventional color perception. Each participant independently identified the color as a form of teal, but they had to dilute it with white light to approximate its intensity, underscoring its uniqueness. Despite the excitement surrounding olo, not all experts are convinced that it represents a new color in the traditional sense. John Barber, a professor of optics at City St. George's, remarked, "It is not a new color, it's a more saturated green." This skepticism raises questions about the implications of the discovery and the extent to which it challenges existing theories of color perception. Manuel Spitzjohn, a vision scientist at the Max Planck Institute for Biological Cybernetics, acknowledged the study's significance, stating, "It's a fascinating study, a truly groundbreaking advance in the ability to understand the photoreceptor mechanisms underlying color vision." The technical demands of the experiment are impressive, yet the broader applications remain uncertain. The researchers envisioned potential future applications of their findings. Ng noted that the technology could pave the way for enhanced visual experiences in digital displays, possibly introducing a 4th primary color into screens. Furthermore, there is hope that this approach could aid individuals with color blindness, allowing them to perceive certain colors for the first time, albeit temporarily. As the scientific community continues to scrutinize the implications of olo, it remains clear that this discovery opens new avenues for understanding human vision. While the immediate applications may seem limited, the research invites further exploration into how we perceive color and the technological advancements that may arise from this innovative study. As scientists delve deeper into the mechanisms of color perception, the future may hold even more surprising revelations about the world of hues beyond our current understanding. In the realm of cellular biology, a fascinating narrative is unfolding that highlights the intricate relationship between neurons and stress responses in the body. A recent article published in Nature Reviews Molecular Cell Biology sheds light on how neurons may act as key orchestrators, coordinating stress responses across various tissues. This revelation not only deepens our understanding of cellular communication but also opens avenues for new therapeutic strategies targeting stress-related disorders. The study, led by Evandro A. D'Souza, builds upon foundational research conducted by Rebecca Taylor and Andrew Dillon in 2013. Their groundbreaking work explored the role of XBP1, a protein involved in the unfolded protein response UPR, which is crucial for cellular stress management. While earlier findings indicated that overexpression of XBP1 could extend lifespan in certain tissues, the effects varied significantly depending on the tissue type. Specifically, overexpression in muscle tissues was found to shorten lifespan, whereas in neurons and the intestine, it promoted longevity. A particularly illuminating aspect of this research is the observation that neuronal stress responses do not operate in isolation. When examining neurons genetically modified to overexpress XBP1, researchers discovered that the activation of the UPR was not confined to neural tissue, it also triggered responses in the intestine. This inter-tissue communication was found to depend on UNC13, a critical protein involved in vesicular secretion, suggesting that neurons release signals that coordinate stress responses in distant tissues. The findings highlight a remarkable level of coordination in how stress signals are communicated between different cell types, D'Souza noted. Understanding these mechanisms could pave the way for novel interventions in stress-related diseases which have become increasingly prevalent in modern society. As the implications of this research resonate across fields, it raises critical questions about how stress responses can be managed at both cellular and systemic levels. Stress, often viewed as a negative force, has complex biological roles that, when understood, could lead to significant advancements in treating conditions such as neurodegenerative diseases, metabolic disorders, and even mental health issues. In light of this emerging understanding, the role of neurons as communicators of stress responses underscores the importance of a holistic approach to health that considers the interconnectedness of bodily systems. This paradigm shift encourages further exploration into how enhancing neuronal signaling could improve resilience to stress across different tissues, potentially leading to innovative therapies that harness the body's natural mechanisms of stress adaptation. In conclusion, as researchers continue to unravel the complexities of neuronal signaling and stress management, we stand on the brink of a new era in biomedical science. The insights gained from exploring the orchestration of stress responses by neurons not only enrich our understanding of cellular biology but also point towards promising strategies for fostering better health in an increasingly stressful world. Future studies will undoubtedly expand on these findings, potentially transforming our approach to wellness and disease prevention. In the rapidly evolving landscape of business literature, April 2025 brings forth a compelling selection of titles that challenge conventional wisdom and introduce innovative perspectives on capitalism, technology, and personal resilience. These books not only serve as guides for professionals seeking to navigate the complexities of the modern economy but also provoke critical thought about the future of business education and the integration of artificial intelligence in our daily lives. One standout title is Andrew J. Hoffman's Business School and the Noble Purpose of the Market: Correcting the Systemic Failures of Shareholder Capitalism. Hoffman, a professor of sustainable enterprise, argues that traditional MBA programs are in dire need of reform. He highlights that many business schools are still entrenched in outdated models that prioritize shareholder primacy, contributing to societal issues such as inequality and ecological degradation. Hoffman calls for a fundamental overhaul of business curricula, advocating for a shift towards cultivating leaders who are not merely profit-driven but are stewards of the market. His urgency for change is balanced with a pragmatic acknowledgement of the institutional challenges within academia. He encourages students to become active participants in their educational journeys, suggesting that the future of capitalism may depend on the willingness of business schools to evolve. In contrast to Hoffman's academic critique, Faisal Haque's Transcend, Unlocking Humanity in the Age of AI explores the intersection of technology and human potential. Haque presents a dual narrative that combines philosophical reflections with practical frameworks for leveraging artificial intelligence. His approach, encapsulated in two acronyms, Open for Unlocking AI's Potential and Care for Mitigating Its Risks, offers readers a structured way to engage with AI in a thoughtful manner. Through fictional case studies, he illustrates the nuanced decisions faced by leaders in adopting AI technologies. While some may find his philosophical musings overly idealistic, Haque's exploration serves as a reminder of the ethical considerations that must accompany the rise of AI in business. Kevin Evers' biography, There's Nothing Like This: The Strategic Genius of Taylor Swift, shifts the focus to a cultural icon whose business acumen has reshaped the music industry. Evers posits that Taylor Swift's strategies deserve the same analytical rigor applied to tech giants like Apple and Amazon. through an album-by-album examination of Swift's career, Evers illustrates her adeptness at navigating the shifting tides of the digital age, from engaging fans on social media platforms to adapting to the challenges posed by streaming services. This narrative not only celebrates Swift's artistic evolution but also highlights her influence on the broader business landscape, showcasing how adaptability and innovation are crucial for success in any industry. Tasha Eurich's Shatterproof: How to Thrive in a World of Constant Chaos and Why Resilience Isn't Enough delves into the psychological aspects of personal and professional growth. Eurich challenges the traditional notion of resilience, arguing that merely bouncing back from adversity is insufficient in today's fast-paced environment. Instead, she advocates for a proactive approach that involves harnessing challenges as opportunities for growth. Her book provides a structured pathway for readers to transform their responses to stress, emphasizing reflection, research, and revision as key components of personal development. Eurich's insights are particularly relevant in a world increasingly characterized by uncertainty and change. As readers absorb these diverse perspectives, it becomes clear that the themes of innovation, ethical responsibility, and personal growth are intertwined in today's business narrative. The authors not only critique existing systems but also propose frameworks for improvement, urging a shift towards more thoughtful and inclusive practices in business and beyond. Looking ahead, the ongoing discourse surrounding these titles will likely influence future developments in business education, the implementation of AI technologies, and the broader cultural narratives that shape our understanding of success in a complex world. As professionals engage with these texts, they are invited to reconsider their roles within the economy, challenge entrenched norms, and embrace the transformative potential of both technology and human agency. In a significant development that underscores the geopolitical tensions surrounding nuclear proliferation, U.S. Senator Marco Rubio has firmly stated that Iran must relinquish its nuclear enrichment capabilities as a prerequisite for any negotiations with the United States. This statement, made public on April 24, 2025, reflects growing concerns over Iran's nuclear ambitions and the implications they hold for regional and global security. Rubio's remarks come against a backdrop of heightened scrutiny of Iran's nuclear program, which has long been a point of contention between Tehran and Washington. His assertion emphasizes that any future diplomatic engagements must center around Iran's commitment to abandoning its nuclear enrichment activities. The continuation of uranium enrichment poses a direct threat not only to the United States but to our allies in the region and around the world, Rubio stated, highlighting the broader implications of Iran's nuclear capabilities. The senator's position resonates with the sentiments of many in the U.S. government who argue that a nuclear-armed Iran could destabilize the already volatile Middle East. The stakes are particularly high as the region grapples with ongoing conflicts and the influence of various state and non-state actors. Rubio's stance aligns with the broader U.S. strategic objective of preventing nuclear proliferation and ensuring regional stability. The concerns regarding Iran's nuclear program have been exacerbated by reports indicating that Tehran continues to advance its uranium enrichment efforts even amid discussions of renewed diplomatic talks. The Iranian government, while insisting that its nuclear ambitions are peaceful, has not provided sufficient assurances to the international community regarding its intentions. This ongoing uncertainty prompts fears that a nuclear-armed Iran could embolden aggressive behavior, potentially leading to an arms race in the region. Furthermore, Rubio's comments come as the U.S. seeks to strengthen its alliances in the Middle East, particularly with countries like Israel and Saudi Arabia, both of which view Iran as a significant threat. The notion that Iran must cease its enrichment activities before any dialogue can commence is likely to resonate well with these allies. While Rubio's remarks set a clear position for U.S. policy, the path forward remains complex. Diplomatic efforts to engage Iran have historically been fraught with challenges, and the potential for escalated tensions is ever present. The international community will be watching closely to see how these developments unfold, particularly as the U.S. balances its approach between diplomacy and deterrence. Looking ahead, The implications of Rubio's statement could shape the trajectory of U.S.-Iran relations and influence broader discussions on nuclear non-proliferation. As the situation evolves, it will be essential for all parties involved to navigate these treacherous waters with a focus on dialogue and diplomatic solutions that prioritize global security while addressing the legitimate concerns of all nations involved. The coming months may prove crucial in determining whether a framework for meaningful engagement can be established or if the tensions will escalate further. In a remarkable intersection of paleontology and evolutionary biology, a groundbreaking discovery has emerged from Brazil, the oldest undisputed ant fossil ever found, dating back over 110 million years. This exceptional find not only sheds light on the evolutionary origins of ants but also enhances our understanding of their global dispersal patterns. The fossil represents an ancient species known as Vulcanidris cretensis and is a pivotal piece in the puzzle of how ants became one of the most successful insect groups on the planet. The fossil was unearthed by a research team led by Anderson Lepico from the University of São Paulo. Lepico notes, "We have evidence they were in South America. They were in Gondwana during their early evolution." This statement reinforces the theory that the first ants originated on the southern supercontinent of Gondwana before embarking on their journey northward and ultimately colonizing diverse environments around the globe. The fossil's age places it firmly in the early Cretaceous period, a time when flowering plants were beginning to flourish, likely providing new ecological niches for emerging ant species. The implications of this discovery extend beyond the realm of entomology. Understanding the evolutionary timeline and geographic migration of ants can inform scientists about broader ecological and environmental changes that have occurred over millions of years. It offers a glimpse into the resilience and adaptability of a species that has become integral to many ecosystems, serving roles as predators, scavengers, and even agricultural partners with fungi and plants. In a different but equally intriguing development, scientists have reported the discovery of a new color dubbed olo, which has never been seen by the human eye until now. This breakthrough was achieved through a highly controlled experiment involving laser-based retinal stimulation, which specifically targeted one type of cone cell in the eye. Researchers, including co-author Ren Ng from the University of California, Berkeley, described the color as a deeply saturated teal, unlike anything found in nature or on digital displays. Ng explained it was jaw-dropping. It's incredibly saturated, highlighting the extraordinary nature of this color experience that exists outside the conventional spectrum. The study, published in Science Advances, raises questions about the limits of human color perception and the potential for new applications in visual technology and even treatments for color blindness. However, experts are divided on whether olo represents a truly new color or merely a novel stimulation of existing visual pathways. Meanwhile, in the realm of planetary science, the Curiosity rover has made a significant discovery on Mars, finding abundant deposits of carbonates in Gale crater. This finding supports theories regarding the planet's ancient carbon cycle and provides crucial evidence about the historical presence of water and a thicker atmosphere on Mars. Lead researcher Benjamin Totolo remarked, "The discovery of abundant siderite in Gale crater represents both a surprising and important breakthrough in our understanding of the geologic and atmospheric evolution of Mars. The presence of carbonates suggests that Mars once had the conditions necessary for liquid water to exist on its surface, which is critical for understanding its potential habitability." This discovery not only illuminates the past geological processes of Mars but also fuels ongoing discussions about the prospects of finding life beyond Earth. As these discoveries unfold, they paint a richer picture of our planet's biodiversity and the complexities of life beyond it. The fossilized ant serves as a reminder of the deep evolutionary roots of life, while the exploration of new colors and Martian geology expands the boundaries of human knowledge and experience. Looking ahead, researchers will likely continue to delve into these fields, potentially uncovering more secrets about our world and the universe at large.